the board's point of view, most of this year was spent thinking about the future and how we can more fully service our membership, create a fuller experience for our visitors, and enrich the community. In short, we want to serve as the memory and the voice of the Alden family and the pilgrims in their communities. Say that again. We want to be the memory and the voice of the Alden family, the pilgrims, and their communities. That's our mission, and that's who we are. We need to keep this history alive. And believe me, if you look at school curriculums anywhere out in New England, it vanishes. Nobody is taught these stories anymore. They are taught it in Duxbury because they're Duxbury and we assist in that. We should be assisting in Hull and Hanson and Pembroke and Plymouth and everything else. Make sure at least this section of the country knows that, and remotely other sections of the country. Wherever you live, if you say Mayflower or Alden, then you get a blank stare. We need to continue that education on a personal level as well as an institutional level. So we welcome your input on progress and everything else. As far as looking at the future, you might see some stakes in the ground over there with orange tops. And the reason they're there is we've been humming and hawing and thinking about what to do with the property next door. Just to clarify, both of those buildings over there are rented. Our rental dog just barked a few minutes ago, if you noticed, the black lab. We have 3 labs living on the property, so if you're a dog lover, you don't like that. The property allows us to consider the barn expansion. And the stakes that were put out there, we just gave Bill Thayer, who's a wonderful architect and has done all of this work for us gratis, has said, he said, give me everything you might want. And we gave him a list of everything anybody had said that they thought they might want, and he sketched it out, and then I put some stakes in the ground so we could see how big this thing would be. And I saw them Friday, and my board saw them Friday, and they're overwhelming. It's so big in terms of size to the relationship of the barn and the house on the hill. And we had a long session yesterday to talk about that, and to talk about, okay, this was everybody's wish list. What is it that we really need, and what are we going to do with it, and how are we going to conduct ourselves in the future, and what do we see happening here 25 years from now, 50 years from now, whatever, because a major building project is a major building project. The one thing that we absolutely have to do is we have to find a way to get people with disabilities who come into a parking lot to the site. This is not acceptable. This path is not the right length for the steepness of it, and does not comply with ADA. Our first floor and our second floor do not connect here. It's very, very hard to conduct business here. You may be having a meeting upstairs and the copier's downstairs in the middle of the winter, and you got to go out around in the snow down there and then bring it back up. It's insane. So the one thing we know, whatever expansion takes place over here, will have an elevator and a stairway that connects the two. It will also have some more office space and some more classroom space, and at least an area that would hold 50 to 60 people at a gathering. We want something that's usable, flexible, and can tell the story year-round. We don't open the house in the winter. It has no heat, no light, no water. It's just not something you can do. So we need to be able to give the visitor the experience they need with or without the tour of the house. And we can do that by cleverly deciding what's on this lot, what kind of demonstrations we can have, what kinds of activities can go on a casual basis or a regular basis. So we're still in the throes of figuring that all out, but I can tell you we're going to do something. And when we do something, we have to do something about 3 other things. One is the expansion of the facility. The second is making sure we take care of that mortgage that's on that property we talked about before. The third is that we absolutely have to have an endowment drive combined with it to sustain the organization. It's not going to work without that kind of an endowment. And for an organization this size to have an endowment of under $400,000 is very risky. needs to be a lot higher than that. And the fourth piece, the fourth leg of the table, or the fourth leg of the stool, is that we should set aside an endowment fund specifically for the preservation of that house. That's the asset. Repairs to it do not come easy, and right now it's in pretty good shape, except the front stoop, which is being fixed, and for a humidity issue that we're working on. But 50 years from now, there could be a lot of other things that need to be fixed, and we need to put a fund in place specifically and only for that purpose. So when we figure out the expansion phase, we'll put all of that together, and we'll talk with you, and we'll talk about how we can continue to grow this organization, and realize that it's really going to be the membership that needs to really think about what they want to have happen, and be able to step up and make it happen. I am excited about it, because I think anything is doable if you've done the planning and know why you're doing it and how it fits into your mission. If you just say, oh, let's raise X, and then go do it, it doesn't work. We need to discover what X is first, and then do it in a deliberative way, and not forget the four legs of the table. And so we're going to get those legs together on that table, and then we're going to get our legs together, and we're going to go out, and we're going to make this a very special place even more special, and prepare it for the next 50 years.